the two worst heinous things to injure a person is to rip them off of their labor, what they've earned with their labor, what they can do for themselves based on what they've earned with their labor, and their stature, and what their stature allows them to access of their own labor and potential, and their also means to further express their potential can all be reduced to stature. So to deprive someone of that that's actually what damnation is. So to damn someone in the current paradigm is to confiscate their stature and or their means of accessing and expressing and being compensated for their true potential. So, but I think that's what it's going to amount for people who we're not cannibals outright, but we cannibalize one another's resources and finance. When you get these different people calling your phone, beep, 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 this and that advertising, they're actually cannibalizing your finance first, but then also your stature if it comes to it, which informs your finance. So it's still cannibalism. But and because they can redeem that, and because that will cost you your physical health and body viability, and it'll benefit their physical health and body viability. So it's cannibalism. But so you could say that at a certain point. So it's kind of like you're in a I think that a lot of life is like a theme park. If you listen to people talk about the trips that they take, the vacations, they talk about this earth as though we're a theme park, and also the members of this earth as though they were working at a theme park. They're either maybe cool other guests, but more so staff at a theme park. But at a certain point, if you spend enough time at a theme park, it costs more than it compensates you. So you're going to run out of money at a theme park at one point. That is, you're going to run out of status at a certain point in a theme park. Entitlement, what you can do, what you cannot do, that's secondary to your actual status, your identity. When your identity goes bad, now you're bad at the theme park. If you can get a job there and rustle up together a little bit more identity and status to enjoy the theme park, unlikely, but just to be tolerated there for long enough till your status further goes bad, that's one thing. But everyone's status will go bad. So some people, like, they have a lot of things about like men's rights in things. There's a YouTuber named Howard Dare, and he talks about like stuff like MGTOW, men going their own way. But most things aren't new, so that might just be a modern conversation of the old conversation of men's rights, because all people get victimized differently, including men. But if you listen to a lot of it, like a lot of them that the time when people have interest in that, or they have experience in that type of thing about men being victimized and maybe different undermined in different sophisticated ways, professionally and socially, economically, it comes to a head likely like around like age 40. Like I'd imagine like somewhere between 30 and 40. They, according to Rollo Tomasi, who talks about intersexual dynamics, but also some men's issues, is that people can be zeroed out where you're no longer viable in this paradigm. Whatever you're competent in, whatever you can do, demonstrate, whatever you have done, demonstrate it, whatever you have done for others and yourself, and could likely replicate without too much difficulty, that does not matter. You were zeroed out. Your identity was zeroed out. You were compromised. Your identity as your membership in this society paradigm was compromised. Likely you didn't necessarily have to get around to doing anything wrong. The actual dynamics and cycles and attitudes that prevail will get around to getting you in that position, whether or not you had done something wrong. If you did something wrong, it may be quicker, but you'll get around to that point likely if you are viable to be zeroed out, and the different profit that can come from that. That's his standpoint, like Rollo Tomasi, but similar statements like with Howard Dare, which is that you're on board with the pirates, right? Everybody, oh ho ho yo ho, the pirate's life is life for me. So you're doing less of work, you're ripping people off on the high seas. Maybe you're getting into trouble on the high seas, so you'd have some brotherhood based on the battles you got into. But this and that happened, and now your ass is walking the plank. What, when what, where what, somewhat, that what, would you get your ass around to having to walk the plank with all your comrades, maybe laughing, bantering, partying, with someone who got the sword to the more poignant would be the one with the sword to your back. But you're now having your ass walk the plank now. I would imagine those had been your real brothers. You necessarily didn't do them wrong or want to do them wrong, but you were with them as long as the party went. But at a certain point, somewhere out there on the high sea, yeah, but now you guys got to walk the plank right here. So I think in this life, a lot of us will have to walk the plank because we're all about pirates. We're all pirates. You, your comrades, your mercenaries going over to kill the bad guys. your job where you're mocking the other person that's not getting on with the team, the outcasting person, mocking customers that come in there, bantering, parlaying, stacking loot. All our ass are some pirate. But at a certain, because according to Todd Street Bait, your corporate structure is based on actual pirate venues back in the past. That's what our corporate structure, that's what our society structure, that's what our mental structure, that's what our social structure, that's what our economic structure is based on and still is pirates. But you, at a certain point, you get to walk the plank. All the people that you forced to walk the plank, that you were with when you forced someone else to walk the plank, yeah, but now it's your turn to walk the plank. So all I'm trying to say is that all of our stature will go bad at a certain point, whatever we do, and we're gonna all have to walk the plank. And that's when you see what this life is about, as it conspires to make you walk the plank like that. But you didn't have to do nothing bad for that. And I'm not asking for accommodation or sympathy or even outright empathy with this video. I wouldn't. We all need empathy, but I'm not asking for that. I'm just showing you that this system, this beast, this collective eating trough that we have now, feeding trough, frenzy, it needs things to eat. It needs people to, it needs plants, animals, and at times people and their labor and or their stature to consume. So everyone is potentially eatable, but who gets to get eaten is based on your stature, and that's a little bit arbitrary, and there's some nuance within that, and that might be the real fight worth fighting, is advocating for people to be protected, but based on ethics and humanity. But but when people are getting other people victimized, what allows this one to get victimized this way, that one that way, this one not that way, that one not that way, is based on your stature, and it's a little bit arbitrary, but it comes down to money. So you can say what's right or wrong. What sells is what sells. So it's going to come down to I think it's going to come down to the money because money is cooperation. So wherever the cooperation is, whatever people are on board with, that's what's tolerated. So I think that I just wanted to point that out with this video, and some nuanced conversation, is that we can all potentially be forced to walk the plank, do as we may, but a lot of it's arbitrary and it's a little bit unethical, but it would come down to money. So they say that all evil comes down to money. All stature and standing and ability to perpetrate evil also comes down to money. And they say all is fair in love and war, but I still say love's better.